In some ways, we just kind of fell into scoring. It wasn't necessarily something that we saw ourselves getting into, but at the same time, we were always very attracted to atmospheric, layered music, which was oftentimes instrumental.
When I approach doing music for movies, I want to make every score its own unique world, where it has its own sort of laws and its own logic that work seamlessly with the movie and its logic.
My name is Leopold Ross.
I am Nick Chuba,
and we compose the music for Shogun. Atticus, my brother, he had a studio in London, and I would just go watch and learn. Probably the first project that solidified our move into scoring was a TV show called Touching Evil. Atticus and his wife Claudia had a band called 12 Rounds, and the director said, basically, I want the sound of this show to be that band.
So I got involved in music playing jazz guitar when I was in high school. I was really into more of the experimental side, and that made me naturally get into experimental electronic music, and then went to USC to study jazz guitar.
It wasn't necessarily something that we saw ourselves getting into, but once we got into Touching Evil, we realized how much we loved the art form.
The Social Network score came out, and I was blown away by it because it was such a different type of music that you normally hear in movies. A combination of synthesizers and organic sounds, and I thought maybe there was a way to use these weird, abstract, ambient ideas I was coming up with in some of the films that my friends were making in film school. And through that, found my way into scoring feature films.
In our early conversations with Justin Martz and Jonathan Van Tulikin, the showrunners on Shogun, we spoke a lot about scoring the psychology of a scene rather than the place. So a lot of the time, the music is accentuating what's going on in a character's head rather than what's coming out of their mouths.
And we started to think what music would have been happening in the pre-Edo period of Japan. And so that's how we found Taro Ishida, who's a arranger and manager of musicians called gagaku.
雅楽というのは非常に特徴の多い音楽です。1400年前ぐらいの朝鮮半島や中国大陸の音楽が日本に流れ込んできて混ざって日本で作られたと言われています。でその雅楽の元となるものは8世紀に熟成され完成したと言われています。宮廷や寺院といったつまり政治であったり宗教とかと深く結びついている音楽でもあります。
We wanted the music to be coming from authentic Edo period instruments. However, our goal was never to make traditional Japanese music. Our goal was to create music that was singular to the world of Shogun.
In gagaku, every musician plays every instrument. Sho, which is sort of a mouth organ. Hichiriki, which is a double reed instrument. An instrument called ryoteki, which is called a dragon flute. The taiko drum. And then there's an instrument called the kako, which is a smaller drum.
クラシック音楽でいう指揮者という存在がおらず、皆さん空気を読み取りながら演奏していくという特徴があります。
And they all play at a different pitch to a Western pitch. The Western pitch is 440, whereas they're using 430. So we wanted to have the bass of the score be at 430 and then tune all of whatever else we were embellishing with to their tuning, so that on a cellular level, the music was based in the Edo textures. But from there, we heavily processed everything and create a singular sound.
彼らと仕事をしていてとても印象に残っていることが、2つあります。一つはまず彼らが、日本の伝統音楽に対しての敬意を持ち続けてくれたことです。私は、自分が最も大事に感じているどんなことでも挑戦してみようっていう気持ちにもなれたし、日本の伝統音楽というとこういう感じだよねっていう自分の中の常識をいい意味でも打ち破ってくれました。
One scene in particular that I really was proud of was in episode 1 when Omi first boards the Erasmus ship, and it was one of the first pieces of music we attempted to use these instruments in, which was really nerve-wracking because I hadn't actually pulled it up to picture, so I didn't really know if it would work or not. And when I pulled it up, it was just incredibly exciting and inspiring, and we all felt like this is going to work.
But in addition to that, we went through a lot of different sounds, trying to find particular tones for particular characters. For example, one of the characters, his main theme is played on rubber bands because he was a comedic element of the story. The main theme in its original form was actually Nick Chuba playing a flute with his nose.
It is actually this instrument called the nose flute, which you can buy on Amazon for $2. The first bits of the main title are this thing called the nose flute. And then what's really cool is that almost everyone we recorded for the score is on the main title theme.
It starts with this kind of mournful refrain and then it builds and builds and builds. But at all times, the foundation was the gagaku instruments.
I would say the sound we were trying to go for was something that evoked the feeling of David Lean or epic movies, Lawrence of Arabia or Ron, just a grand feeling.
でその音楽に余白がある音楽が映像と合わさった時に本当にこう完成されたものとなっていることに感激を覚えました。